Hi, Ravi's back.
Who, me again?
Yes, him again. So I'm Shivani and this is the Curly Bookworm and we are doing a fun top 5 Wednesday video.
Yay.
So what is the top 5 Wednesday, you ask? And if you haven't asked, I don't care, I'm going to tell you. It is a group of people on Goodreads that basically come together and talk about like themes through which to talk about books. And this time's topic is
5 different kinds of writing styles you like to enjoy reading or emulating.
correct. So essentially authors that you wish you could write like, because this is NaNoWriMo. And for those who don't know what NaNoWriMo is...
What's NaNoWriMo? Is it Narendra Modi?
No. NaNoWriMo is essentially a National Novel Writing Month. It's like a bunch of people around the world who get together and write like novels in the month of November every year, or at least attempt it.
Nothing to do with Narendra Modi and Remo Fernandez getting together.
Oh my god, that's disgusting. Okay, so do you want to start? Do you want to talk about your first author?
How about you go first?
Okay, fine.
Like, give me the warm.
Okay, so the author that I definitely want to write like, and you guys will not be surprised by this because I've said this so many times, is Chimamanda Adichie. She's written Americana, which was in my top 10 list last year.
2016, yeah.
Yeah, I like all of her writing. She writes a bunch of short stories and things like that as well.
What is it, like POV style or?
Well, Americana specifically was about a girl who was from Nigeria and she decided to move to the US.
States, yeah.
And she lived there and she's trying to basically, get set into the US society, and she found that she was very different from even black people who live there. And she calls out race, she calls out how different people live, she calls out nationality, she calls out a whole bunch of things. But what's really neat about that book, especially in terms of the writing itself, was that she actually used these blogs that she pseudonym wrote because she just wanted to talk about these issues. Like simple stuff like how people don't really know that Michelle Obama has curly hair, she doesn't have straight hair. And I love that she used that style and that sort of device to talk about it, but because even within the book, she's like her protagonist is like a super bold protagonist, but like the blog chick was even bolder when she pushed the boundaries of...
Obviously, the anonymity.
Yeah, and also like she wasn't political or whatever. In general, I want to write like Chimamanda. It's like very deliberate, and all of those words are super deliberate.
Can I bounce off that with another author?
Yeah, let's go.
Not part of the original discussion that we had, but Ayn Rand was in a way like that way back in whenever she wrote her books Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged. But I never liked those writing styles, but when I read them, for some reason, maybe I had the bandwidth to absorb it, that I took to them. But today if I try to read them, they were too long, windy, complex narratives which were hard to grasp.
So it's an author that you recommend? Like to make up your mind, because we're doing a list of 5 here, we're not like stream of consciousness.
I was just bouncing off yours.
I'm going to take the executive decision on this, and Ayn Rand is definitely an author that you should read because I agree with you as well.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go with that.
The third author that I want to talk about is Marian Keyes, and the reason why I want to talk about that right now is because Marian Keyes is a chick lit author, and you don't expect her to come in this list of authors that you could write like, because typically when you think of that, you're thinking of great prose, you're thinking of tightly edited lines, you're thinking of great story, you're thinking of all of these like literary writing sort of elements, which not necessarily Marian Keyes has, but the way her story comes together in every single book of hers that I've read, and I've read pretty much all that she's written, is so captivating. You cannot put her book down, and that's not because she writes mystery or thriller, which is like what you would like normally think if you think of like writing that you can't put down. This is just like, it's almost like flirtatious, chill, silly writing, but it's so fun.
A good light read.
It's a great light read, but like it's not daft,
It's not cheesy.
Yeah, it's not cheesy, and it's not. I'm not to say that cheesy writing is bad writing, but as far as authors who I like to emulate goes,
there's a very thin line between cheesy and just coming off like fun and light.
Yeah, and then she what's great about her is that her stories essentially have like heroines or protagonists who are so strong but they haven't realized their strength yet. It seems like a lot of her books have that sort of underlying sort of theme, and they're always a lesson of growth. It's not just a silly like, oh, single woman in her 20s trying to find a romantic partner. Nobody's saying there's anything bad with that. I'm just saying that Marion Keyes sort of puts in more into that story, and when you finish reading her books, there's more to take away from just.
Was there a book that you wish you wrote from hers?
I really loved Rachel's Holiday. I really liked Anybody Out There. So definitely those books. Okay, so book number 4.
I want to talk about Stephen King Carrie.
What's Carrie about?
Trying not to give spoilers, but it's about a girl who is pretty much ostracized by the entire school, has an overbearing mother, and in Stephen King's classic sense of magic realism / horror / thrilling piece of work, he displays the case of this girl through news articles / interviews / conversations in a format that I've never read before. And this was young, when I was like 22, 21 that I read Carrie. So all this while you've been reading standard POVs and third person point of view or like a narrative this thing. But this was the first time I read a book that was like a list of documents that followed the story. Like if you're following a case on media or on a newspaper and you follow the clippings and you piece the entire.
I can see how it was like super, detrimental to like why you feel so strongly about it, because you read it when you were so young.
Yeah.
I think I can see why like it sat with you so well, just because like it was so new for you.
Yeah, it was like an event happened and then you're dissecting why the event happened.
Yeah, is that why you wanna write like him?
That was just ingenious to me. Like it opened my eyes that someone could write like this, like a story that was in this format.
Yeah.
It was like a vignette of 1,000 different ways of writing it, because there would be one way of POV, there would be one conversation, there would be one article that just described the event. So if anything, if I could write a book like that would be amazing.
Cool. So book number 5, and just to give you a disclaimer, we're doing 6 here just because we're greedy. And Ravi totally went off script. So
Sorry.
So the 5th book is a bunch of different kinds of books you were telling me, right?
Yeah. So the saga writing. So basically, you take the breadth of someone's life from their childhood, formative years, to their adulthood, to their struggles and happiness and joys and pitfalls and miseries. Yeah, the entire journey. So there are a lot of books that fall under it.
And then there's Jeffrey
Archer as A Crow Flies. There is Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth. There is Wilbur Smith, Monsoon, Birds of Prey. Anything from Wilbur Smith, honestly.
Yeah. So let's take an example.
Wilbur Smith, Monsoon. I would highly recommend the Courtney sagas, starting with that.
That's the book you gave me, right?
That's one of the books. Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna link that video here. Take a look at that.
That starts off with the entire 15th century sailing atmosphere with, English pirate ships and, wars on seas, battles and struggles and jails and first loves and first sexual experiences. The works, like it goes everywhere. There's a mentor, there is a hero's arc where the father dies and the kid becomes the man, becomes the broad-shouldered hunk, and he tries to save his crewmates and everything. And it goes through an entire arc till its point where he becomes old.
What's so appealing about this kind of writing to you?
To be involved in an entire lifetime within like 3 weeks of reading. Because these are fat books. These are those juicy books you sit and take forever to read. Like you don't want it to end. And when you end, you're like, how? And then you realize there is another series with the next generation.
Sure.
And it just gets you going because you want to live that life, or you want to at least experience, because some of it you connect with.
It's like binge watching a series on Netflix.
Exactly.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
I'm so genius.
Oh god. So Wilbur Smith style of writing.
Cool. So The last one that we want to talk about is Harry Potter, and this is actually more than like a bonus because everybody knows Harry Potter. We want to talk about why Harry Potter. So for me, I really enjoy Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling's writing, and we were discussing this pre the video. The great thing about her writing, hands down, is that anybody can read it. Like, you could be 7, you could be 70.
Book 1 and 2 can be read by.
Yeah, so it's like, it's genderless, it's like ageless and whatever. To me, I really enjoy book 1 and 2, and I can go back to it at any point of time ever, just because it's just so much, like, it's like the unfolding of the magic. Ravi doesn't agree. He kind of likes the writing in the older books.
It's like when you take a huge break from reading and you want to get back to it. You want to get back to something familiar and quick, so you get, it's like getting back to a sport.
Yeah, but you said you wouldn't start from 1 and 2.
I would never start from 1 and 2 because I've probably reread them almost 3-4 times to a point that I don't enjoy them anymore. But I still enjoy the bigger books.
So you were saying it's kind of like juvenile and kiddish as well, the first 2 books.
It sets the premise, and I know the premise so well that I can dive down into the bigger, thicker books, which has more nuances, more details, more feelings, more emotions to get through.
But man, J.K. Rowling, like, she's what the
She's
hell?
a queen.
She's killed it. That's the most admirable quality about J.K. Rowling, especially Harry Potter, because it just transcends gender and age.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of author you want to be,
Yeah, like,
I mean, of course, apart from the fact that she's created these amazing worlds.
Yeah, minus the world building, which is another episode
Level of
altogether.
amazing, yeah.
Which is another video altogether. The writing style is so clean, directive. The flow is not hampered with complex sentences. It's not hampered by long, windy descriptions that sometimes you're not that interested in. It's conversations, context, events, and action all rolled into one in a clean format that gets anyone even is not paying attention will go through and follow through.
Yeah, awesome. So those were our 5+1 books. Thanks for coming, thanks for listening, thanks for coming.
And you know what to do. Like, subscribe, all the buttons somewhere here below. The Curly Bookworm, almost the only exclusive booktuber in India.
That's not true, but thank you for like talking me up. I wouldn't, thank you.
You were recognized recently somewhere.
I know, that's amazing.
Yeah.
In a bar, by the way, like someone random, one of his friends who didn't know that, who I was like, oh, I've seen you onto the Curly Bookworm, and I was like, shut up! Like, how is that even possible with my 300 subscribers? And it was my birthday, so that was great. Okay, we're gonna go because this video has become too long.
Alright,
bye.
Ciao. Awesome.